It's pretty great. This building used to be a tire factory. So we've got the brick vibe going on. And this is our very small kitchen. We've got approximately 1 square foot of counter space and a lovely little stove. And yeah, this is where the magic is gonna happen today.
Great.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get started, and like feel free at any point to unmute yourself and ask a question or comment or share as you want. But first things first, we've got our 1 cup of squash in a bowl. I pureed it a little bit last night after I boiled it just by using a fork and kind of pushing it against the side of the bowl. But before I add anything else, I'm just gonna do that again because chunky pancakes can be good, but it's not really the vibe I'm feeling today. So I'm gonna just smush it up a little. Oh, this color of orange is amazing. I hope you all can see it, just beautiful. So I'm feeling good about this. This is just, it's like a puree type of situation. And I'm gonna put some flour in. This is very special flour from the Dickinson College Farm. It's the bread flour that we use to make pizza. If you're ever around on Wednesdays at Farmers on the Square, there's amazing pizzas that are made with this flour by hands of people who are very skilled at making delicious food. So this is approximately 1 cup. It's a little mug I have. It's very rough estimates on measurements today. Welcome to my style of cooking. So I'm just gonna put the 1 cup in of the flour, and then I'm gonna check the recipe to see what we gotta put in next. Yeah. No, you're good. You're welcome to join in. We have another roommate present. It's very exciting. That's where the voice from the void is coming from. Okay, so we've got butter, maple syrup, milk, eggs, and vanilla next. This is not a vegan recipe, folks. I'm sorry. You can most definitely substitute things as you need. This one has lots of animal products in it. Butter, we'll start with that. And 4 tablespoons, melted and cooled. Okay. Hi, Stephanie. How's it going?
I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm really happy to see you.
Likewise.
In general.
Yeah, we've got delicious farm squash in the bowl. You can't really see it because of the flowers covering it, but yeah. I'm really curious from you all what your favorite topping to put on pancakes is. If you could just drop it in the chat, that would be great for my own inspiration so that we can collaborate in this space, you know? Favorite topping or pancake flavor, you decide. Go.
One vote for jam. We got tons of fruit, but not sure about with the squash. Pancakes with brown sugar. Ooh, that's fancy.
Ooh.
Another one for fruit, specifically raspberries.
Okay. Yeah.
And maple syrup. Elderberry.
Ooh.
I can't say I've ever had that.
That's good for colds and coughs, I think I've heard. There was like an elderberry cough syrup I had once. Oh, chocolate chips. Yes.
About chocolate.
Yeah, so just a clarification on the squash. The pancakes are made with squash. The squash isn't a topping this time around, but you're welcome to try that any future moment of your life. Honey and blueberries? Yes. Oh, yes. Honey, that sounds super yummy. Poppy. Okay, so this butter is just browning, and that's gonna happen. I'm gonna get the eggs ready. We have eggs from the Dickinson College Farm. I don't know if you can see, there's some poop on them. And it's pretty important that when you have eggs coming straight from the chicken that you don't wash them until you eat them, because there's actually a protective coating that the chicken puts around it when it comes out. And so that's gonna actually keep this egg longer. So you don't wanna like erase all that work that the chicken put into protecting this egg. So then you leave it dirty in your fridge and then you wash it when you want to use it, just like I am about to do. Also, hi, Mom. Just watch.
Very good to see you.
You too. Sometimes the poop on the eggs dries up a little bit, so hot water is pretty effective in getting off the crusty poop. Just pro tips. I just realized that all of you might not know about the Dickinson College Farm. And I don't really know that much to tell you, but Dickinson College has a farm and it's a great place. There's livestock, but mostly lots of veggies and wonderful people and chickens and squash that produce some of the things we have here today. So the butter is browning a little bit and I'm just gonna make sure that it gets all used up. Or I'll heat it up here.
Our Node's grandpa says maple syrup is.
Oh, amazing. Yes.
I also.
I love that.
And this isn't your first time making these pancakes, is it, Espoir?
This is not, that's a great point, Maddie. I am really a pancake fanatic sometimes. And so I like to make pancakes with lots of different things. I've done zucchini pancakes, squash pancakes, all kinds of different situations. But these pancakes I have done before. They're quite good. They turn out with a really lovely orange color and kind of like a fall spice vibe if you're into that. But yeah. So I'm gonna add, I believe it is 2 eggs, but I gotta double check. Yes, 2 large eggs. Butter, milk, and vanilla. Okay. Okay. We're gonna do the eggs. I'm curious about what the weather is like where you all are. In Pennsylvania, it is very, very warm. And I'm curious if it is a warm, like summer feeling November day for you all as well. You wanna put it in the chat or say it out loud?
New York is pleasantly warm at the moment. It is
Ooh.
something else. I mean, it was nice because like with the election results, like the whole block in Washington Heights had like this huge celebration. So we were all like out on the fire escape and like tank tops banging pots at each other. It was great.
Huge. Oh wow, it's warm in Maryland too, and New Hampshire. Geez, climate change is hitting hard, folks. 70 in Philly. Wow. That's really awesome that everyone went outside, Abby. That makes me really happy. Okay, so I got the flour, the eggs, and the squash in here, and it's looking pretty soupy. So I think I'm gonna add a little extra flour, and I still need to add the milk. So I think it's definitely gonna need some solids to balance the liquids. Okay, 1.5 cups of milk. Gotta double check. I get milk from the the cafeteria, and sometimes it stays in the fridge a little too long. So always good to check, you know. Denver is 75. Oh my gosh. Whoa. That does sound super hot, Layla. Okay, so now it is very much soupy. It is, in fact, a soup. Oh my goodness, I have a soup related trivia question. Is cereal soup? Please answer or weigh in.
No.
No.
Simply no.
Strong no from Val. Okay. Any supporting points, or is it just no?
I just say no. I just don't think it counts.
Super valid. I celebrate that. Anyone else?
I really don't like this question.
We're talking about if cereal is soup.
Okay, I'm trying to see the angle if people will see if
It's
I eat
here.
in the background.
No, they won't. Other roommate Lily is here. This
Hey,
is
guys.
Lily. She's wonderful.
Wow.
Okay, now we gotta
Okay,
put more
review.
flour. So we got 2 votes for no. I know this is a contentious question, so I do apologize for bringing it up, but you know, soup calls for the occasion. Also, yeah, so yes or no. You can do the thumbs up symbols as well. I don't know if there's any weigh-ins on that. Also, hi Olivia, welcome. We're just talking, yes, we're just talking about if cereal is considered soup or not. You know, we're really digging into the questions here. Do you have any thoughts, Mom? Just a cough. That's okay.
I'm sorry, I was just muting myself when I realized I was coughing. I believe that cereal is not soup. I
Do
believe
you
it's
have any supporting points for that?
why would you call cereal soup? Just because you put milk in it?
No, because it's a liquid and solid blend. It's eaten in a bowl, consumed with a spoon. I mean, I don't know what kind of like other frameworks should we bring here.
Okay, so this is what I will have to say then. Soup is ingredients that are all combined together,
Okay.
and cereal is usually one item with milk added to it, and the added milk is the liquid.
Okay. I like that thesis statement. That was beautiful.
I think that cereal is not a soup because you can keep soup as a leftover and cereal gets soggy and disgusting.
That's such a good point. Wow. Yeah. That might be the tiebreaker. I'm really glad you brought that up, Layla. That's a really good point. Well, okay, random thought just to have in tandem with that new thought. Then is oatmeal considered soup because you can keep it as a leftover and it's a liquid and a solid combined? Sorry, we're really getting too much into it here. I promise we'll keep cooking and never talk about this again after you answer.
I think it's too solid to be a soup.
Okay,
Oatmeal.
valid. I really appreciate that answer. I like the oatmeal thing is like it gets cementy if you leave it in the bowl for too long and then you're never gonna finish it and then it's just like not fun. Oatmeal is not a soup, not liquidy enough. Okay, I see. So we got,
You could make an argument for stew though.
huh? Oh,
I
yeah,
feel like you could make an argument for stew.
that does sound like an effective argument for sure. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so I've got my melted butter here. I put in a whole stick, but I only needed a half, so I'm just gonna pour in half. Ooh,
Do
amazing.
you want the pancake mix to be a soupy cereal, as some would say,
That's
consistent?
a question. Arno says soup is cereal. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Arno. That's a really good question. So I think different people can like prefer their pancakes in different ways. I personally enjoy to have like I don't want it to kind of come out like a crepe, like really, really thin. And I like for it to be cooked all the way through. Some people like their pancakes to be like a little mushy, which is super valid. That's just not how I'm gonna do it when I cook for myself. But if you put more flour in as opposed to liquids, then you can have like a cakier pancake. And that's where it gets tricky because if they're too thick, then they might not cook all the way through, but the outsides will be burnt. So that's kind of the balance that you want to weigh in on in terms of like, how thick do you want it? How much do you want it to cook? How do you want it to be enjoyed and eaten? But yeah, there's a really fun trick that my mom does sometimes. Shout out to Nicole, she's on the call. With like putting apple slices, like super thin apple slices, or sprinkling nuts or something on the top of the pancake, and then when you flip it over, that side is like cooked underneath. And that can be fun, but that also works better in my experience with like a cakier blend with like more flour. So great timing for that question, because now we have a still very, very soupy blend. And we've got, I believe, all of the liquid ingredients. Just got to double check. Puree, butter. Oh, it also calls for maple syrup, but I'm not going to put it in because I think it can go on top. You put in the milk, the eggs, flour. Okay, now we've got baking powder, baking soda, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, cloves, and salt. So I definitely don't have cloves. Thanks for putting the recipe in the chat again, Maddie. Baking soda.
Other people at home who may be making it, what consistency are you getting with your pancakes? Or is anyone else making it at home? Which is, it's okay if you're not.
I cook. They're pretty soupy, but I like my pancakes thick. So here we are, living life.
That's a good point. I don't know. I haven't cooked too much with squash, but someone in the chat, Melissa, said sometimes roasted squash can really vary moisturize. And I know Espoir said she like boiled her squash too, so that may make a difference. Yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts on that? Moisture with the squash, boil versus roast?
Yes, also such a good question. I don't know if you're asking me. So if other people want to weigh in, it's your time to shine. But yesterday I was talking about this with Jen Wolf, who works in the lower barn at the college farm. She is like the goddess of all things processed and packaged and washed and cleaned and cut up and all these things. And I was conferring with her about how I should do this, and she said that roasted could add a flavor which might not be beneficial to pancakes, like if you use olive oil or you sprinkle like a seasoning or something on it, which might be really good for like a savory dinner or like something like that, but maybe not kind of the vibe you're going for with pancakes. And so then she suggested boiling it. Since it was already diced, I thought that would be easiest and just kind of require the least amount of maintenance. And the oven here is a little temperamental sometimes, so I figured the boiling would just be easier than the baking and roasting. But yeah, Melissa, you're totally right. The roasted squash can vary moisture-wise. Sometimes it like ends up like roasting dry or not dry. So that is the name of the game. And like when I've done pancakes with zucchini before, that's really hard to counterbalance the moisture because zucchini is like so wet. And I've tried to like, not press it, but like maybe press it, like dampen it off or something with paper towels. That's what I'm doing with my hands. Sorry to explain my hand motion. But it's like tricky, and those end up kind of being mushier, especially if you have them shredded instead of like blended. That can really make a difference in terms of how the moisture evens out. So gotta do the baking soda and baking powder. 4 teaspoons baking powder. You've got a very sophisticated measuring spoon that is just a spoon. Okay.
Espoir, I'm behind.
Yeah.
I'm not doing the same as you, but these are fruits of the garden
Oh my gosh.
that I'm cooking. We're not exactly sure what kind of squash, but winter squash.
Awesome. That's awesome. And you're gonna roast them or bake them?
They are already baked. I'm just taking the skin off of them now, and then we'll just keep the puree for whatever. I'm not sure what yet.
Awesome, awesome. Ooh, Layla, good point. Zucchini and squash and gluten-free baking. Totally. Yes, that is a good noticing. I will definitely store that. I did not think about that. But that's a good method. Okay. So we've got the sodas and powders. Mix it up. So it's still pretty soupy. I don't know if you can see, but it's like fairly liquidy. Ooh, chopped pecans. Good idea, Bill. That's really smart. I'm gonna see if I have some. Oh, we've got walnuts from a snack club that I made a couple weeks ago. They're not super small though, but I'm really glad you brought that up. You're right. It does sound like dessert, Melissa. Yes. In fact, it was a dessert for breakfast type situation. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of bubbles when I mix the batter. I don't know if you're seeing them, but I think that's the baking soda and baking powder kind of doing its chemistry thing. So I'm gonna mix it around a little bit more and see if the texture changes before I add some flour, because it is a little soupier than I would like. So I think I will end up adding some flour before the cooking time. Oh, and I have to do the spices. But once the spices are in and once the cooking is gonna begin, I think we can open it up to questions or any comments or like maybe me less talking, but I can also fill airspace if that is what's needed. So yeah, we'll figure it out. Think about your questions if you have any. It could be, oh, go for it.
Oh, as it saying, yeah, any like farm questions you have, or kind of, this is also, you know, in collaboration with CEAS, so like any questions about, you know, living sustainably and like being sustainable, etc. Yeah, so think of your questions to ask as Espoir starts cooking, and then any farm related ones I can also try to answer too.
Cinnamon and nutmeg.
Maddie, are you in Carlisle?
Yeah, I am in Carlisle.
Hey. Are they letting you use like reusable grocery bags at the grocery stores yet, or nah, fam, because of the corona?
Yeah. When I got here, I think in my senior seminar, like one of my professors was saying they weren't allowed to use like reusable bags, but and I showed up back in June, I think maybe in July, I don't know. I didn't have any problems trying to use reusable bags.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. They're definitely selling them at the stores, at Giant at least.
Yeah, Maine has not been about it since the corona started, which is a little frustrating.
I also sometimes just, when I forget my bag, just don't put it in any bags and just put it back in the cart and throw it in my car, which causes issues when I'm trying to bring it back up to my apartment, but you know, less plastic.
Yeah. Great idea, Bill. Baking powder with batter consistency. Would you suggest putting in more?
While Bill answers that, someone also brought up, oh, he's not sure.
No worries. I'm kind of afraid of like baking soda and chemistry and stuff. I don't really know enough about it to like be like, okay, I'm gonna put some more in to do this. So I'm just gonna put more flour in, but I'm glad for the suggestion. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Maddie?
Like if anyone took chemistry in the kitchen at Dickinson, try it.
At Danielle, I don't know if she took it, but she does chemistry in the kitchen. So I feel like she would know.
True. Speaking of Danielle, Danielle is our livestock apprentice at the farm. She's a recent Dickinson grad. And next Friday, she'll be teaching a virtual pie making class. So be sure to tune into that.
I have a question about the farm.
Go for it.
What kind of vegetables do you grow in the winter?
That's a great question. Oh, right now, as it's starting to get cold, the only thing we really have outside right now are kind of, we have a little bit of like lettuce and spinach left, but it's mostly brassicas, which deal better with the cold. So we got like,
kale, broccoli, cauliflower. Sorry.
Oh no, you're there too. You know what we harvest.
I just know that like I don't know, brassicas is a really fun word, but I didn't learn it until I worked at the farm for a while to like understand really what that is.
For sure. So like we've been doing broccoli, cauliflower. Cauliflower is a big one we've been doing lately, and then we just did a fun thing with the Brussels sprouts. I don't know if you guys know how Brussels sprouts grow, but they grow on like the actual sprouts grow on like the sides of the stalk in the middle, and then it has all these leaves coming off. And we also have a cover crop of clover growing under the Brussels sprouts right now, which is kind of affecting the airflow and stuff. So we took off all of the leaves, kind of the bottom leaves of the Brussels sprouts, and now they look like little palm trees out in the field with just the leaves on top.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it.
And we also have stuff growing in the greenhouse too. Like there's a lot of bok choy, some salad mix. There's other stuff, but
scallions, something little we transplanted a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, lettuce, head lettuce.
Yep.
It's like cilantro, dill, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow, thank you so much. My computer percentage is really low, and Lily and my roommates just set up this whole long cord and extension cord.
Is it okay?
She's the best. Yeah. Here, I will put it there.
I'm gonna share it. Angle good.
Yes.
Get that.
Espoir, there's another question from Layla. How do you get involved with the farm as a student?
Such a good question, Layla. We've got some student farmers here with us. So if y'all want to weigh in after I answer, that's super okay. Also, Arnaud, super cool background you're trying to use there. I don't know if it's working, but it looks really awesome. So the farm is pretty awesome to get involved in, and it's really easy to volunteer. Shifts happen most days. A morning shift is from 7:30 to noon, and then an afternoon shift is from 1:30 to 4:30. And most of those times there's someone coming from campus to go do that shift. So if you have that chunk of time open in your schedule, you're welcome to join. You can just email like farm@dickinson.edu, and I think someone will connect you through that. But Saturday mornings as well, there's a volunteer shift from 8 to noon. And that one's a little easier for folks to come to instead of like clearing out 4 hours of your schedule. And so that's pretty awesome. I actually was really lucky to kind of be tangentially involved in the farm, but never volunteered until being hired. I applied every year that I could, and then the fall of my junior year, I was accepted as a student farmer, which was super exciting. And ever since then, the farm has been a really, really big part of my experience at Dickinson and in Carlisle, and just kind of a way to really zoom out from campus and kind of think broadly about the ways that we are part of food systems and this community and the Cumberland Valley. So yes, so glad you're using whole wheat flour, Arno. But yeah, the farm has lots of like different events as well that students can attend. And so that's a fun way to kind of just get out there. There's a harvest fest, I think like end of September, where we have like contra dancing and a caller that will like call out like make a circle, go to the right, go to the left. And that's super fun. There's farm frolics at the beginning of the school year during homecoming, I think. In the spring, there's different events. So there's lots of things that happen at the farm, whether or not you're working there or volunteering there. And I think, at least for me, like once I was able to plug in, I was like, wow, I'm never going back. I'm gonna stay here as long as I can. But I'd love to toss it to the other student farmers on the call. I got a hot pan, so I'm gonna start making the pancakes here. But I know that some other folks are here as well. And if you wanna talk about your experience as a student at the farm, that'd be awesome. Also, I don't know if that answered your question, Layla. That was a really long rant. So feel free to specify if that didn't hit what you wanted.
Okay.
We're gonna show you our batter.
Amazing.
Nick.
Well, that's really thick. I think you need to add some milk to that, Arno. Or water? Yeah.
Made it with pumpkin.
Oh, amazing. That's awesome.
If you go on chat, you can see that.
Okay, sorry, I didn't see that. I was making the fun.
Pumpkin is in the squash family. Water, some milk. It's really heavy. Let's mix that up and then see. I think we'll go too liquidy really fast.
Espoir, about how much do you put batter do you use for like one pancake?
Oh, such a good question. So I like used the fork and I kind of just made like a little dollop and then I spread it out, and as you can see there's like a fair amount of butter still left in the pan, so the first couple are going to be kind of fried, which will hopefully be good. But yeah, I would say start small. The first couple pancakes are always going to turn out a little weird, and that's when you have the chance to also modify your batter to make the consistency and the texture right. So I would say not super huge, but if you want big pancakes later on, or if you want to make shapes, that's always fun. Hearts are super easy to make. Anything else gets pretty complicated pretty fast, but it's fun to try.
Are you using like oil or butter? What are you cooking it in?
I am going to use oil, but there was butter still in the pan from when I had to melt it for the batter. And Bill just asked, what sort of things do student farms go on to do after their experiences on the farm? Such a good question. There's a really awesome apprenticeship program that some graduating student farmers usually plug into. And then there's other positions like the awesome position that Maddie has. That folks can apply to like stay involved in the farm. And a lot of other student farmers end up going on to farming in other places or doing other things as well. I don't know if you have more information on that, Maddie, but that's what I got.
Yeah, I think there's a variety of things student farmers go on to do. I wasn't a student farmer, but now I work for the farm. But I know there's some student farmers doing research of some sort. I know I just did if you go on to the Dickinson College Farm blog, you can look at alumni spotlights that myself and other past education and outreach coordinators have written about farm alumni. One young woman that graduated back in 2014. She still lives in Carlisle and has like a flower. She worked as an apprentice, and then she went on to have her own farm for a little bit, and then she worked at Roots, which is a flower farm in the area, and now she has her own like flower wedding design, flower business of some sort. She provides flowers for weddings. Yes. But yeah, you can definitely look more on the website to find out more about that.
So we've got our first pancake. It's pretty burnt, as you can see. Maybe you can't see. I'm gonna tilt the camera a little bit. But it feels like when I first touched it, it kind of like a bunch of air came out. Yes, Melissa, you were totally right. So I'm gonna cut it open in a couple minutes as it cools off. But until then, I'm gonna let the pan cool off and try one more just to see what happens. I think the butter was also part of the burning. So we'll see how that interacts.
Anyone else have first pancakes yet?
Kind of spongy. They're so good. They're a little bit undercooked though, so I'm gonna slow it for a minute.
Nice. Oh yeah, Espoir, I guess once you're done doing that, what temperature are you cooking them at? And then two, Nicole would like to know what kind of frying pan is best for pancakes.
Well, that is a very funny question. So I don't know the temperature currently. This is a electric stove. I am at like the first quarter setting, if you can see. So it's like pretty low. And I am very intrigued because I think Nicole actually might have her own answer to that question. But my answer would be a cast iron pan. They're really great. And especially on a flame stove, you can get like a special something as long as you never use soap on them. That is a very important thing to remember when thinking about cast iron. But yeah, I don't know. Pancakes, I think it's a sacred food, and whatever you make it on, it's gonna be a pancake. So like, you decide. It's a choose your own adventure kind of thing in my book. But I'm curious if you all have any favorite pancake frying pans or any nightmare pancake frying pans as well, because I've had a couple of those. Nice dance moves, Poppy. Love it. Yeah. Favorite pans.
She's hot.
Oh, yeah. I bet it's getting warm in the kitchen, huh? Same here.
Yep. No, it's because my dad is baking bread.
Bien sûr.
I can go get.
Just leave it, Arno.
Okay.
Let's not be distracting, okay?
Any other pancake or farm or otherwise questions as we continue cooking? Espoir, what's your favorite thing to do at the farm?
That's a great question. I think I like most things to do at the farm. Right when we're given the task, I really don't like the idea of brush clearing, but usually after an hour or two, it ends up being okay. I really like Harvest Day. It's on Mondays, and I feel really grateful to get to work on Harvest Day this fall. Last fall, I believe I also worked in Harvest, and it was just like, it's really special to get to harvest things, especially if you weren't part of the process of like getting them to the harvest point. And so that always makes me really happy to just see all the beautiful vegetables. But weeding is fun too. Anything in the greenhouse has been much more fun than things out of the greenhouse lately because it's been pretty cold and wet at the farm. But I also really like doing livestock chores. I got to do those last winter and spring, and that was really, really fun. And yeah, I love the conversations that happen at the farm. Honestly, I think most of the activities are super doable, but what makes them fun often is like the people you're with and the things that you get to talking about after hours in the sun or in the cold rain or whatever. And that always feels really good. Salut, François. But yeah, I was thinking about just initially in the planning of this event, I was told to kind of think about and talk about sustainable lifestyles. And to me, that like felt like really buzzwordy and kind of hard to really know what that means often, because sustainability is this like umbrella word that people use so much. which is, I think it's important that we're talking about it, but sometimes I think because of kind of the whitewashing of the environmental movement and the privilege and money that is necessary for a lot of like sustainable things, like buying the extra fancy straws or things like that, I think sometimes that narrative is like pigeonholed into something that it doesn't have to be. And I was thinking about this yesterday at the farm with Dee, one of my coworkers and friend, student farmer, and we were saying that sometimes sustainability is just resourcefulness and thinking about the things that you have and how can you use them in different ways instead of buying a new thing. How can you cut a milk jug so it becomes a storage container? You just cut off the outside and make it a little handle, and there you go. You know, or like saving the containers after you eat things out of them, and that kind of thing. So that was just something that I thought of yesterday that I wanted to share with all of you. And I'm curious if that resonates at all, or if y'all have any thoughts on that. I'm gonna mute myself, but I'll still be listening. I just have to check the pancakes.
Yeah, I know Dee, who you just mentioned in that story, did a class with us back in September where she showed everyone how to make kind of reusable beeswax wraps, where you just kind of use any cloth you have and kind of melt beeswax over it. And I think you baked it a little bit, and that can be used to like put on top of save food or put on top of containers of stuff you haven't finished. Yeah. Oh, apparently you can also use oilcloth to make reusable sandwich bags. Sounds pretty neat. But yeah, that's very good points you brought up there, Espoir. And I definitely echo what you say about having these conversations about anything, but also about sustainable stuff too. Like you were talking about at the farm, definitely allows for that. Any other farm questions? Anything you're dying to know about the farm or anything else related?
Reusable sandwich oilcloth thing sounds really cool, Melissa. I'm grateful too for sharing that idea. Are other people having pancakes? Did you try the first one? I'm curious for your verdict. I know that Abby had a thumbs up earlier. Oh, good question, Bill, also. Well, I just tried the first one. It's quite good. It's pretty moist. Yeah. I don't know how long the farm has been active. I know that it started off as a garden over at D Park, where a lot of the athletic fields are. And then I think the college had or acquired a property that became the farm.
Yeah, I want to say it was like an alumni or something.
Yeah.
Had land and that they gave the college and said like it can't be developed on or something. So they decided to make the farm.
Yeah, that sounds right. Lily was just saying that our other roommate, Audrey, said he'd been active for 17 years. So that's pretty impressive. I super agree with what you said, Olivia. The Grapes of Wrath performance was amazing. That was the first thing that brought me to the farm, actually. And it was just incredible. 10-year reunion, Melissa. Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the farm pizza is the best. Last fall, I got to work at market selling the pizzas, and it was so fun and super yummy, always. But I don't know if I have a favorite event. Last fall, I really enjoyed the Harvest Fest. I was working it, and there was like a snafu with the apple press. It had been used for the thing that's after the fire.
Charcoal.
Thank you, charcoal, yes. And it got ground in the apple press. So when we first pressed the apples in there, they were a little black. It was a little alarming. We called Matt, who's one of the farm managers, livestock manager, and we're like, Matt, the cider is black. What do we do? And he's like, that's just charcoal. I'm like, okay, it's a cleanse, whatever. Like, play it off. But it was super yummy and really fun. Just like a full moon night, people around a big bonfire, all the good vibes. For current students who are on the call, Isabel, Val, and Stephanie, what are y'all's favorite events that you've been to on the farm, if you want to weigh in?
I've always really loved farm frolics. I think that's probably my favorite event. And I definitely was one of those students that like didn't know or tap into the farm until later on in my like time there. So like once I discovered it and like got more, just like was aware of the farm in general, that definitely added to my Dickinson experience a lot too.
Yeah, I love, all of the things. The Harvest Fest with the bonfires is wonderful. Grapes of Wrath was also super cool.
Livestock tours, 5 ever, Stephanie. I agree.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite livestock on the farm Espoir since you've gotten to work with them a little?
Well, I have a soft spot in my heart for chickens. When I was younger, Nicole, my mom, who's on the call, and I had chickens, and it was really fun. So I always I enjoy chickens. I think they're fun animals. But it was also really fun learning more about the cows. I got to put more straw in their pen as part of livestock tours last winter and fall, and feed them. And they're just like these huge animals, and like often they're pretty moody. Like they're like, why are you in my space? Which is fair. But it was funny and cool to like gain a comfortability around them and like know what sounds to make so that they like go away from you, or know like, am I comfortable being around this cow? Maybe it's okay if we're like kind of closer as long as I'm not by its back legs or like things like that. So that was pretty fun to just kind of get to learn because I knew nothing about cows. Arno, do you have a question?
No.
You want to show them?
Oh yeah, Poppy has chickens.
Amazing.
You want to show the finished pancake?
Can I see it?
We already ate them.
We ate part of it, but we made. Do you want to show? Maybe we can show the Poppies because it's the kind of shape. We made them in the cookie cutters.
Yeah, we made them.
That's so smart, Poppy. Oh, awesome.
You have a gingerbread bear. I have a gingerbread.
Oh, that's amazing. That makes me so happy. Oh, yay. And also, Olivia, I saw that you're making pancakes. How's it going? Or you're mixing something. It's okay if it's not pancakes. I'm not judging.
It is pancakes. I'm just a couple steps behind.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. This is what I have.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks good. Nice.
It's like a group project.
Yes.
Where I was working on dry ingredients. My parents were working on wet ingredients, sound mixing.
Oh, amazing. I celebrate that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
On the topic of livestock, not to put you on the spot, Stephanie, but I know you did a lot with livestock in the past and some cool research over the summer with the cows. If you wanted to say anything about that, you also don't have to, because I am putting you on the spot a little, but
Oh, it's okay. Basically, I was working with Matt Steinman, who's kind of like, he's married to Jen, and he's like the livestock manager at the farm. And we were trying to like figure out how to manage like the pest flies that bother the cows and like feed on, they're gross. But one of the things we considered was like, you can, like the flies they lay their eggs in fresh manure. So we figured if we like spread the manure out with like a shovel or something, then like maybe it'll dry out and then the eggs will die. We figured out that doesn't really work very well because the number of flies in each treatment are about the same. So like there's no pattern that we realized. So I don't know, that's pretty much it. Kind of gross, but I liked being around the cows. And also like I learned how to identify different kinds of flies, which was pretty cool.
yeah, that's one example of research that's been done on the farm, but there's definitely a lot of different research projects done by like students. Like I participated in one my senior year about toads with pest management at the farm. Yeah, research is just another element of things that happen on the farm. I know there's also one, a student a while back, I think, did research with the biogas on the farm, and that's getting super big at the farm now that we secured some funding, I think a grant for that. So that's a cool way renewable energies getting incorporated at the farm.
Did you talk about the farm lab at all?
I did not.
I didn't hear you bring it up, but like I'm like thinking about different things, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss it. But there's a really cool thing that's going to support more research and more projects to happen at the farm that is proposed right now as part of the Revolutionary Challenge. And the farm team has proposed it as the Farm Lab, which is Farm Agriculture Resource Management or something like that. It's an acronym. You can vote for it. I might just look for the voting link and put it in the chat because I really want the farm to win. The other ideas were good, but I completely biasedly think that the farm one is the best one. Okay. This is the voting link. You should vote for whichever team you think should be in it. Betsy Halpern, exciting. Yeah. I wanted to show you all something. Maybe if you've already made pancakes, you know this, but it's like a good trick. Hey, Jaden. Thanks for coming. But when you're first cooking pancakes, the way that you know it's time to flip them is when the bubbles stay open. And so then that's how you know, and then you can flip it and like it won't be as burned. But yeah, maybe I'm just woman-splaining how to make pancakes to you all and you already know, but I thought that was a fun specification to make.
It's a pancake cooking class. We take all the explanation you give.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, that is what this is. Oh, the survey was completed. Shoot, sorry, Annabelle. Yes, Melissa, you were totally right. This is not my spatula. Actually, it's Lily's, but it's a really nice spatula. I fully agree. Yes, Melissa, class of 2004. Yes. Weird. Okay, the survey may have expired, y'all. If so, I'm deeply sorry for leading you on like that. Weird.
I think you may be able to find it in like your email or something.
Oh yeah, well it's completed because I completed the survey and maybe there's like individual links. So really sorry about that. Threw you under the bus, folks. But I don't know where the like. It won't let me try it again. Shoot, they really got sneaky with this. I don't know how to solve this problem.
It's like
well, yeah, thank you so much for coming. So glad. Yes, cool. Well, before we wrap it up, I don't know if folks have other questions. Yeah, or anything else. What were you gonna say, Maddie?
Like, yeah, like we're coming up on an hour, and I know that's what I put as the time. I don't want to keep people any longer than they have. But if there are any other last questions, we can try and answer. If anyone has any pancakes they want to show off.
I'm about to run this up to my mom, but I figured I would show off the pancake.
Yes, Julia, looks so good. I love that.
I've been here quietly making pancakes.
Yes.
And mine turned out.
I'm so glad.
Thick. I don't know if it's because, oh, well, now they look less thick, but.
There was like an air fart, if you will, of the pancake that also happened to me after I cooked them. So that could be it. That's amazing. I'm so glad you did that, Jaden. Yay. Thank you for coming, everyone. It's been really awesome. I don't mean to cut it off. I just am like seeing people's things in the chat. But I did want to bring up one last pancake related thing. A super fun activity that you can do if you're making pancakes with people and you need something to talk about, or like maybe get them to use a different language in talking about with. I do this at the French immersion summer camp that I work at. Is pancake reading. So similar to tea leaf reading, you can kind of look at the images that appear on a pancake and use them to inspire some kind of prophetic statements about the future. So I'm going to show you this pancake. It's pretty, like, there's nothing really exciting about it. But I think that maybe it can tell us that the future, there's more consistency. I'm speaking it into existence right now. And maybe like unity. This is a unity pancake, everyone. Yes, sorry, that's all the pancake reading that I have for now. But like the pancake that Julia showed, like had like cool designs, like colorations that just naturally happen. So if you use your imagination, you might be able to see the future in the pancake. That's all. Sorry, silly tangent. Thank you, Betsy, and everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing way to wrap it up. Looking forward and looking into your pancakes. I thank you, Espoir, for your time and insight into the farm and pancakes and the future. And I really appreciate all of you guys participating and being really respectful. I will upload this to our farm YouTube in the coming days. So if you want to try out the recipe again and you want a visual to go along with it, it'll be there. You can share it with other people. And yeah, we have one more cooking class coming up on next Friday, which will be a pie making class. And you can see our other cooking classes we've had on our YouTube as well. Other small plug for the farm gift boxes, which are now available to order. You can either pick up here in Carlisle or get them shipped to you. You can find that all on the Facebook and etc., all the other places. So again, I thank you all for coming. Yeah.
Thank you, Maddie, for organizing this and for everyone. Also, there's really good hats, wool hats from the farm. You can order them online. They might seem a little expensive, but it's worth every penny, I promise.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.